Welcome to Where We Knit. My name is Kristen, and I'm coming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I am the host of this podcast that is mainly all about yarn, knitting, sewing, and my favorite things at the end of this video. Now, if you are a regular viewer, welcome back. If you're new, welcome to this podcast. I have some exciting things to share today because if you have watched this podcast in the previous episodes, you know that I just returned from Copenhagen, Denmark. It was a trip that was on my bucket list that just happened to fall into my lap this summer, and I went with one of my very best girlfriends, Lisa, who is a college friend, and we had a blast. Let's get started. I'm going to focus on a handful of things today. I'm going to focus on what I bought in Denmark, what we did a little bit here and there, and also my favorite things at the end, some whips, some finished objects, and some favorite things here in the store where I'm filming. If you are new here, I have to say this is my local yarn store. I am here in Dandelion Fiber, which is a local yarn store to me, just blocks from my home. And I teach classes here. And it is filled and beautifully curated with the most amazing little doodads, yarn, just anything you can possibly imagine. And I have highlighted some things that are new to the shop that I want to tell you about. But let's get started. Denmark. It was crazy good. The weather was beautiful. The other the other thing I want to make sure and tell you before I get started is when I talk about the Danish people, when I talk about Copenhagen, Denmark, this is all my experience and my opinion, okay? Because I do give lots of opinions about my thoughts about Denmark and my experiences. But again, these are my personal experiences. And I have to say they're all good. But I just want to make sure and touch on that right away, that this is my opinion and these are my experiences. So Denmark was beautiful. It was, Copenhagen was a city filled with very kind people who were helpful, who were kind, who were considerate. We stayed in some beautiful places with very helpful hosts, that being Airbnb. And so we did get sort of an inside scoop from the hosts of our Airbnb that we stayed at and one hotel concierge that we were at. We were there for 8 days. And we hit it hard, I have to say. Lisa is also a knitter / crocheter. She did have some work to do while she was there, so I did have some downtime. She also did take a little day trip to see a family friend, so I had one full day on my own to sort of plug around the city and do some things. But we did focus on yarn. And so we were, let's say we came in on a Wednesday and we left the following Thursday. Flights were beautiful. We have the luck and opportunity to fly to Copenhagen direct here from Minneapolis. So we had a direct flight. You'll see some photos that I'll poke in here every so often. And one is here of Lisa and I leaving the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport. And I knit on 2 projects. So I'm going to focus on things sort of all over the place, but I did bring 3 things to work on. I brought my through lines, like shawl scarf by Andrea Mowry that was half done. I brought and knit on the Sadie sweater by Ozetta. And I also brought some crochet little squares for that Fleur cardigan that I have been working every so often. So let's talk about what I finished, because that's amazing. I did end up finishing my through lines by Andrea Mowry. This, I did do mine. I did modify the pattern to be smaller. Hers wraps around her neck like 3 times. And being a middle-aged woman in like my mid-50s, I need to have things a little bit lighter at this stage of the game. So I did use discontinued yarn, obviously, because Brooklyn Tweed is no longer with us. This is Peary by Brooklyn Tweed. It is a beautiful yarn that I have to say I would use again. It is fingering. It is so soft and delicious. So the gray and the navy are that Peary. And then the yellow is Salty Dog by Spin Cycle. So you can see that the yellow does kind of change color throughout, being brighter and lighter throughout. I love it. I'm gonna wear it on an episode coming up here in the fall. I think it would be great with a white t-shirt. I think it'd be great with denim. I have a black jacket. My son is going to Montana State. These are their colors. I mean, it's a winner. So so back to where I modified. I took out 6 repeats of the 16 stitch repeat, 6. And I think it is perfect size for me. So I can wrap it a couple times, and this is exactly what I wanted. So for Andrea's sample and for the pattern, you will see that it is a lot bulkier here, and it hangs way down, like these little way down. So I'm really excited to have this finished. It was a languishing whip that I took with me and was perfect for travel. The other thing that I brought with me, I have so many things here. I'm so glad you can't see it. The other thing that I brought with me, but I only brought 4 skeins, so I couldn't finish it, or I probably would have, is the Sadie sweater. I can pop pictures of me wearing it. Possibly I might make this longer. Okay, I have this much left of 6 skeins. This is a Rowan. I had the label here somewhere. Where is it? Well, I can't find it. Soft Yak DK. Talked about it before. Love it. It's perfect for the Sadie sweater. I couldn't love this more. It wears like a sweatshirt. Just really simple edging, which is the I-cord edging. It is delicious. It's just a teensy bit short. So I am going to pull out the ribbing on the bottom and do this much more to see if it gives me the length that I need. And if it does, hooray. If it doesn't, I might buy an extra skein in hopes that it matches and make it just a little bit longer. I can see me wearing this all seasons, summer, winter, fall, spring. It's cotton, yak, nylon. It's a DK weight. The pattern is written for a size 6 US needle. I burned through this thing. I love Ozetta's patterns anyway. They're so practical and just, straight to the, I love her patterns. So this was a win. So those are the things that I brought with me to knit on. Now, when we got there, we went to the first store that we went to, which I learned about ahead of time by watching other people's podcasts. We went to a store called Woolstock, and Woolstock has a yarn crawl that you can do at any time. Okay, you get this map. I don't want to show because you have to pay for this. It's like $35. You get, a button for 10% off at each shop, plus you get a little gift, whether it be a tote bag or all these other cute things. Lisa purchased this. I did not. I didn't need another bag. I didn't know how much I was going to buy from each shop. And so Lisa purchased this and she used it a couple times. But it has a map inside and literally tells you what metro station to get off on. It is beautiful. So if you go to Denmark and you're there on a quest for yarn, it's worth signing up for this yarn crawl through the Woolstock shop. They're the first ones on the yarn crawl. They organize it. That's where you get the map. That's where you get a bag, a little free gift, and 10% off. So we started out there. Here's a picture of me on the outside of it. We had literally just landed. I'm still wearing my plane clothes, like the airplane clothes. I still look a little futzy, but nonetheless, and very jet lagged. Nonetheless, we started there. I did not buy anything at Woolstock. I had the rule, I always have to set up parameters for myself when I go to Rhinebeck, when I go to here, whatever. And my rule was, if I can get it in the US, whether it be through another shop that is a distributor of this European yarn, then I shouldn't be buying it in Denmark because I can get it at home. For me, it makes sense. So I had 2 patterns picked out of things that I really wanted to look for yarn. And I ended up getting 1 plus some other things. So started out at Woolstock, beautiful shop. We sat outside. It has a little coffee shop inside with yummy drinks. So we sat and knit for a while and then moved on to the next shop, which was, let's see, what was it? And you know, the metro there is so easily accessible. You can save your feet by taking the metro. We oftentimes would just get a day pass because if you do 4 trips on the metro, it pays for itself. And we did a lot more than that. So the next shop that I went to was called Sommerfuglen. Now, I might not be pronouncing these names of shops correctly, but boy, I'm gonna try. Loved Sommerfuglen. Here's a picture of the outside. Sometimes I could take pictures or video inside, sometimes not, because there was a lot of people in the shop and I have to, you know, protect their privacy and such. So Sommerfuglen was amazing. And that is where I purchased this yarn that, unbeknownst to me, I don't think you can buy it in the US. I've never seen it at a shop. And it is Helholt Uldstedet. And it is a fingering weight yarn. It is Danish yarn. It is really beautiful. And so I have been wanting to knit. This is one new thing in the shop too. We just recently, Tiff and Laura just recently got this book, which I have at home in hardcover. I got it a long time ago. It is a book by Anna Johanna, Strands of Joy. And this has been on my list to knit for about 4 years. And I knew I was gonna knit it. I just didn't know when. And so, ta-da! I did end up getting yarn for it. I love the colors that are on the sample that she knit. And so I tried to match it as much as possible. She uses tuku wool, which is a fingering weight wool in her sample here. And I am super excited. So I am gonna skein up or ball up this one today and start on the ribbing. It is a top-down steeked cardigan. And the women there were super helpful. I showed them what I was going to knit and they loved it and they helped me kind of match the yarn, which I think I came pretty darn close. So first purchase was this. I couldn't have been happier. On to the next. Let's see. I don't think I bought anything else in that shop, although I certainly could have because they had so many beautiful things. What I found is a lot of the shops there had Cardiff cashmere, laying yarns, tons of, which makes sense, tons of, okay, Jensen yarn is made by, oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? Well, it'll come. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. I'll put it on the bottom here. Tons of that yarn. They had just lots of yarns that we see here. But yeah, I really wanted to have the hard, fast rule of not getting anything that I could get elsewhere. Next yarn shop that we went to. Now, in between all of these yarn shops, we're eating lots of cardamom buns. I'll put up some pictures of some of them that I ate here. I would say if I rated them, there's a shop near the Vesterbro neighborhood called Brod, B-R-O-D, that had the best. But I do have to say Heart Bakery was a really close second. And cardamom, I think, I don't know if it's one of those things that you either love it or hate it, but cardamom comes in a seed pod. And I did learn that it's in the ginger family. And so I really love it. It is a very prominent spice in Scandinavian cooking, as well as other cooking. But anyway, so in between all these yarn shops, we are eating a Danish hot dog, which was delicious. I found a delicious Danish beer that I had my fair share of here and there. And also, traditionally Danish food. We tried lots of different traditionally Danish food and wines and beers, and it was a very good trip when it comes to that. But anyhow, the other thing I wanted to mention, so the next shop that I went to was a shop called Uldstedet, and loved that shop. It was so sweet, but here's the best thing about that shop. I get in there. Now, it was particularly very humid that day, and my travel blow dryer that I bought before I left started on fire. So I didn't have a blow dryer, and this hair without a blow dryer is not cute. So I had very not cute hair on the whole trip, but details, who cares? So I'm at this shop and I'm there by myself. Lisa had to do some work. And so this woman came up and tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "Oh, I watch your podcast." I almost peed my pants. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm in Copenhagen, Denmark, and someone is recognizing my podcast?" And she had an accent, and she was from Australia. And I was like, "What?" And her name is Catherine Berry. And it warmed my heart for the whole trip. Like, I was like, "What?" And then 2 seconds later, who walks in the door? Hella from Danish Musings. Do you watch her podcast? If you don't, you should. I'm putting all of this in the show notes too, or the description box. Yeah, chatted with both of them in the heat and sweaty and whatever, but it was lovely. So I had to take a picture with Catherine Berry because how sweet. What are the chances, right? She's in Copenhagen. She knew I was going to be there. She had watched a previous episode and thinking, what are the chances? And then we meet up. It was kindred spirits. I love it. So when I was at Uldstedet, loved that shop. They had so many great yarns, many of which we can get here. But the great thing is that I have always had the Teddy clutch by Petite Knit on my list. Here's a little picture of the clutch. They had the hardware, of course, because Petite Knit is from Denmark, right? She lives in Aarhus or something, which is outside of Copenhagen. If you look at any of her pictures, they look just like mine in the background with all the cute little row houses and whatever. But they had the hardware. They had the hardware for the Teddy clutch. And this is the little, the little opening gadget. And they had also the liner for it that was inexpensive. And yes, you could probably get this Gepard yarn here, but they also had the yarn called Teddy Dear, which I don't like to say a lot of things about my personal life and my children and my spouse, Mr. Where We Knit and such, but I have a Teddy. One of my boys is named Teddy. And so, right, you gotta knit the Teddy clutch if you have a Teddy. So I did buy that. That wasn't on the list. The pattern wasn't on the list, but I loved this Uldstedet yarn shop so much. It was darling. It was so sweet. I just, yeah. So I was really happy to get that there. So that was another purchase. And so those are 2 days. So 2 days, I hit these 3 yarn shops, got yarn for 2 amazing projects, like super excited, and had tons of restraint. I also had hit a fabric shop by the name of Self-Made, which is kind of like their Joann's, let's say, and really looked at tons of fabric, but didn't buy any yet. So they had several locations throughout the city, and I knew I would make it back there, and I need to really think and look at patterns to see what I wanted to buy. and bought some for a friend as well. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind that I was going to buy some fabric at Self-Made, and I did go back. So hold tight. Then after 2 days, so this was Thursday and Friday, Wednesday and Thursday, Friday morning, we pick up a car and we get on a 12-mile bridge across the sea to Malmo, Sweden. It was like, I can't remember how long it took, but it was a 12-mile bridge. It was like a 45-minute drive. So we get to Malmo, Sweden. We do some shopping there, which was lovely. Had lunch there, which was lovely. I had some delicious salmon. And then we make our way to the port city, which I believe is called Tind. Is it called Tind? Can't remember. Anyway, we already had ferry tickets. It was a Friday, so it was very busy because, you know, Europeans are on holiday, so many of them are traveling too. And so we had gotten the tickets to this express ferry to Bornholm, Denmark, which is this tiny little island off the coast of Sweden. And we had read about it, we had heard about it, and so we went. And it's this tiny little island that you definitely want to have a car. Not as much. There's a bus, but you want to have public transport. You don't want to rely on public transportation there. But it has all these little cities around it for camping, for shopping. They had ceramics and yarn shops and farmers markets and delicious restaurants. And it was such a great little like move out from the city. And then we knew that we were going back to the city. So we went to Bornholm. We stayed remote on a farm in this tiny little house. I'll show pictures. Now, if I go back, would I stay that remote? No, I would stay in the city so we could just park the car and walk everywhere we wanted, because we had to drive into the city, which was, I'm gonna write the name of the city that we stayed in. And then I'm also going to write the name of the city that I would stay in next time. So I'll put it up here. And only because it was big and vibrant and whatever, but it was such a good like excursion. We stayed 2 nights. We saw the most amazing sunsets. We had the most amazing food. We just walked and walked and walked. And I also really like to purchase jewelry for myself on a trip, because I find that it's just a keepsake that I will have forever. I did buy these earrings from an art gallery. I think they're really beautiful, silver, handmade by a Danish artist or jeweler. And then I also bought this amazing beaded bracelet by a woman who studied jewelry and jewelry design in San Francisco. I talked to her for a really long time. I ran into her at like a farmer's market, but she also had her art in a gallery on the island and in Copenhagen. And these are Venetian antique white beads that had been painted. I love it. I love the color red, but then also just the thought of this nice, like really simple, I'll pair it with other bracelets too, but it makes me really happy. Those are really, like, for me, those are nice keepsakes. So I can remember that trip for when I wear the earrings or when the bracelet or whatever it might be. So Bornholm, highly recommend it. It was like little tiny cities. You could drive the whole island in one day. They had this amazing white sand beach that we sat at. Lisa did some work and I knit like crazy on my Sadie sweater. It was just, I loved it. One of the restaurants that we went to that I'm going to put here that was in Gudhjem, I think I'm saying that correctly, which was a city that we stayed right outside of on the farm. The woman who hosted us at the Airbnb, she told us about this little tiny restaurant, and it was all locals. It was little bar snacks. So I'll take a picture of what you see here. They had the best wine. There's a picture of me drinking like a delicious rosé. But what Solveig told us about this restaurant, which I think is really neat, is that it was 100% sustainable. But the piece that I found really interesting is that they get all of their wine from France and they buy it for the full season. So in May, there is a sailboat that is packed with all of their wine that sails to Bornholm, and then all the locals come and help unload the wine, and they have a big party. And so that's all the wine that they have for the season. And I thought that was such a cool story. So we went there twice. We went there both nights that we were there, actually, because it was so close to our Airbnb, and also it was so delicious. So I'll put that in the show notes, the name of the little restaurant that you probably just wouldn't hear about unless someone told you about, because it's such a local, just kind of like, we call it like a little hole in the wall, but it was so cute. We hiked a little bit on Bornholm. We saw these sheep just randomly eating along the way near a campground. That was really fun. And then headed back to Express Ferry on our way back on Sunday, and stayed in an amazing Airbnb on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night. This place, the woman and her partner who owned it were really into architecture and design, and left us a whole really beautiful curated list of things to do within the Vesterbro neighborhood. When I go back, because I will go back, especially with Mr. Where We Knit, he's been there on work trip before, but he and I will definitely go back. And I probably would stay in this Airbnb again because I loved it so much. It was so comfortable. It was, my opinion, of course, is that Denmark, or Copenhagen in particular, is such a safe and clean city. I love that everybody bikes. I love how the parents seem so much more chill with their kids. I don't know what it is. These, again, my observations, but I have to say, like, they take care of their elderly, and they wait patiently in line, and nobody's graveling. There's not a lot of sirens going off. Nobody's honking their horn. There's no trash. Like, they recycle pretty much everything. Like, these are all, again, observations, but observations that I really loved to experience. All right, next yarn shop, Tante Grøn. Loved it. It's owned by a woman named Suzanne. We went there twice. Lisa bought some yarn there. I bought some yarn there. I almost bought, so my other plan was to get yarn for the Dagmar jacket, and it's by this same brand of yarn here, and it's called Triple, and it's an Aran weight, almost like / bulky. It's beautiful. It's what Petite Knit uses in her sample on the pattern for the Dagmar jacket. I really wanted to get it, but I know that I could contact Suzanne and she will send it to me. So I know that I can get it. And the reason I didn't purchase it from Suzanne at Tante Grøn is because this was like, we had 2 more days left, and I needed 800 grams for that jacket. So 8 skeins, 8 100-gram skeins, and it was big and it was bulky. And I didn't have a lot of space at this point because I don't check bags. So turns out that I passed on it. But what I didn't pass on, which I love, is that Tante Grøn has their own brand of yarn, one being the Nordic Yarn Lab. Okay, so this is, they had mohair, they had wool, they had so many different types of yarn that was this Nordic Yarn Lab. But these in particular, this color I love. Now, you can't really see the color on this. It looks gray, but there's purple in it too. I love it. I got 6 skeins of it. They had a sample of Petite Knit's Cumulus Tea in it. I am gonna try and knit this before the season's over. I can wear it into the fall, because in Minneapolis or Minnesota, oftentimes our falls can be like, at least September can be really warm. So I am gonna try to use it. I do have some other whips that I want to show you, but I'm not sure I'll get to this or not. We'll see. No promises, but loved that shop. So it was also on the Copenhagen yarn crawl. And they had lots of different samples and things like that. It was fun. All right, then off to Fredericksburg. And the next day, Lisa was gone, so I had the entire day to just do whatever, and went to Knitting for Olive. There's some B-roll on Knitting for Olive. It's a small shop. You'd be surprised. But I loved how they had these long scarves, like strips of samples, where they used the merino and then they added for marling, like different of their soft silk mohair, or holding double, 2 different colors. It was magic. I loved it. And I loved how the samples, like you could look at a sample and know exactly how many skeins you needed for your size. That was genius, which who knew? And yeah, I mean, I just like, I could have stayed there all day and tried on all the samples, but gave me some ideas of some things that I might want to knit. But one being this really cute tank top that I'll pop a picture up of it here. And the nice thing is that if you look behind me, I am in a shop that is stocked full of Knitting for Olive. So if you want to buy Knitting for Olive and you don't want to pay like Danish shipping, Dandelion Fiber has an amazing selection of soft silk mohair, of their compatible cashmere. Is that what it's called? Anyway, the cashmere, of cotton merino, of silk, of their worsted weight. What's it called? Heavy merino. The colorways here are amazing. And so one color though that is not carried here, which I fell in love with, of course it's not here, but they could get, is this rhubarb rose. And rhubarb rose, plus I'm a huge rhubarb fan. So I got 3 skeins of rhubarb rose to make that little tank top. Now that one I am gonna try and start working on, even if it's not done until next year. A friend of mine in our knitting group, Raquel, made this, I think last year, and it's stunning. It's stunning on her. And ever since I saw it, I was like, I need to do that. So went to Knitting for Olive. Then I went back to Self-Made, which was the fabric shop, and I got 3 different fabrics, designs of the same fabric. It was cotton and linen, and I love it. I saw a shirt in a boutique that was $325, and it was like khaki linen with black pinstripes, and I fell in love with that shirt. And so I found the fabric at the fabric store. So I got 2.5 meters of each of these, and I'll pop a picture of it here. The plum color is gorgeous. My friend Joan already made a pair of lane pants that she wanted to use it for before she went to flock, so she made those. And I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet, but I have a couple things that I need to just sit one day before going back to work. I'm a teacher and I go back August 25th, but before I go back, I have a handful of things that I need to finish and sew before, I mean, they're already like cut out and measured and the pattern and everything, but I just need to take the time to do it. So speaking of that, sorry, I'm all over the board here. I'm really squirreling around, but speaking of that, what I'm wearing today is not knit, but it's sewn. And this is one of my favorite shirts. It is called, I'm just wearing it with black linen pants. It's a little wrinkly, but it's called the Cuff Top by Assembly Line. And I have made 4, 1 long sleeve and 3 short sleeve. And the fabric that I purchased is all from my local fabric store called Lakes Makerie. I couldn't love that shop more. And here's another one that I made. This cuff top. It's just kind of a boxy sort of crop top. and I love it. So this one is like pink with yellow, and this is like a really cute chambray. It's not, there it is, focusing, which is really cute with like white jeans or white linen pants. So this cuff top, I have been getting a ton of wear out of. So that is like a sewing, like little magical treat for me. These, you can put them together so quickly, but it's almost, I could almost say it's one of my favorite things. So anyway, back to going to Self-Made. Got these three different fabrics. Then that evening went to like the very touristy area of Nijhan, and they had a food truck park there, so I got myself some amazing fish and chips. Also went to a shop called Handler. I can't tell you where it is, but one of the gals at Self-Made told me about it because I was looking for another size of one of these for a clutch, because I wanted to make a smaller one for a friend. But they didn't have it. But they did have amazing buttons, so I did pick up these buttons. The buttons will be used for some cardigans, obviously. One of which is a whip that I just want to squirrel away and tell you about. I'm using this Wild Barn yarn, which is a local yarn to me, which is worsted / Aran. And I'm teaching a class here at Dandelion this fall on the Ester jacket by Petite Knit. And I've started it with that Wild Barn yarn, and yeah, I love it. But the buttons were purchased for this. So that's one of my kind of going into fall whips. I need to finish it soon though. So it is going quite quickly, but the class is coming out in September. So I gotta get knitting on it. Anyway, so I did, what was I going to say? I did go to Handler. I would highly recommend that. Zippers, hardware for bags, handles, patches, amazing buttons, thread, lots of like little types accessories, but no yarn. It's just called Handler. So I would check that out. Let's see. Then what was next? Uldstedet, hiking, Sandy Beach. Oh my gosh, so much. But now you could see the things that I purchased. I did have pretty good restraint, I have to say. I'm pretty proud of that. But I know that I'll go back. It's one of those things where it will be a place that I visit again. And yeah, it was a beautiful trip. And I feel really, really grateful for the opportunity to go. Okay, so let's finish up and talk about some other finished objects. These are some other things that I've done, is I finished up my cute little April color cuff club socks by Summer Lee. These were the April socks that she sent. And then I also did a Summer Lee. These are like little, oopsie, upside down shorties. They need to be blocked, but it's called the Flea Sock, which has these cute little, so Afterthought heel is kind of funky, but when I put them on, they're perfect. So love those. Finished these up. So proud of finishing. And then one last thing I wanted to mention is a whip that I started. I mentioned the yarn that I got from Susie from Fiber MacGyver. She and Lara and Emily Botanical Knitter are all at Flock this weekend. Super jealous, but so happy that they're able to go. And I'm sure Susie's killing it because her yarn's amazing. I am using this Fiber MacGyver Sprinkles Merino DK with her Surrey Silk. So these two paired together for the Cloud Top by Petite Knit. And I am finishing the back panel right now, and I'm loving how it's coming out. So check out the Cloud Top. It's so pretty. Petite Knit, you know, man, the only thing that would have been like topped, like cherry on the top, was to run into Ann Vensel or Meta from Petite Knit. Like, honestly, that would have been amazing. It's like I would have been starstruck. But the other funny thing is that the reason why I call Copenhagen the like knitting capital of the world is because you walk around and you're like, oh, there's the Sophie scarf. Oh, she's wearing the Esther jacket. Oh, there's the cloud top. Oh, there's the cumulus tee. Oh, yeah, like they're all, it's all like people are wearing knit garments that they either did themselves or someone did for them. And it's like all petite knit and Ann Bensel patterns. I loved it. I mean, it was inspiring. Okay, last thing. I need to show you some things that have come up in the shop that I love, and they were definitely worth mentioning. I just noticed these iron-on patches that we're carrying here. Okay, so they're friendly ironed-on patches that are made in Pittsburgh, PA, and they're made from scraps. Like, so they're to embrace sustainability. So they're 100% organic cotton, vintage wool, and cantha, which is mainly crafted from upcycled cotton. Okay, look at, like, the visible mending is real. Like, these are amazing. I love them. Look at this one. So think about how you could use these patches on your clothes. Like, this looks like you did visible mending, but you didn't. You iron it on. It's amazing. So the other thing about visible mending, I'm so interested in visible mending. I just have to take the time to learn and do more on it. Is this new book that came here? It's by Aruna. If you don't know her, you need to know her. She is the queen of visible mending. You can follow her on Instagram. I'll put it in the show notes. I believe it's called Bookou, Bookou. Anyhow, this is a new book by her, all about visible mending, that's here in the shop. I love it. And then another one called Well Worn, visible mending for your clothes that you love, by Sky Pennant. So I'll put those in the show notes as well. And then, of course, this just came out. Okay, I want to knit the sweater on the front with the recommended, the pops of color. So this is Field Notes by Olga Putano. Beautiful designer in the knitting community. A new book that's just came out. Another yarn that I'm super intrigued by that we have here in the store that is coming from Wisconsin, which, I love, where it's just right next to us Minnesotans and Wisconsin, is this Utopia yarn. We are carrying the Ridge Sport here in the shop, and it's from Viroqua, Wisconsin, and the mill is in Lafarge, Wisconsin. 100% Midwest wool, including Targhee, Rambouillet, Merino, and CVM Romdale. 300 yards is approximately 100 grams. It is beautiful yarn. I believe Lara is knitting, maybe Tiff is knitting something with it right now. It is, here's some colors that I just find so inspiring and beautiful, but they also have a beautiful red here in the shop. So you can check those out. I'll put links to it in the shop. And then lastly, I love these. Okay, Begu, come on. You're amazing. So these little 3 Go pouch sets. So you can use them for project bags, but man, they'd be great for so many different things. Like, I love a good bag, and the fact that you can get like 3 of them for $40, I love it. They're made out of recycled nylon. They're machine washable. I love them. And look at how cute. And these are just 2 that I'm highlighting. I mean, look at these. So cute. You'd need this to go to Nash Fest for sure. Anyway, those are some favorite things in the shop. Now, favorite things this time are all going to be related to Copenhagen. So favorite things include bikes with children, how they care for their children, I just parenting children in Denmark. It was beautiful to observe. That was a favorite thing. My other favorite thing is that if you were just standing on a street corner and looking at a map, someone would come up to you and go, "Do you need help?" In English. Everybody speaks English. So kind, so generous. Like, "What can I do to help you? Are you lost? Oh, take this metro and get off on this one." I mean, they're so nice. Even we were just looking at a map and figuring things out on the metro, and this guy comes up and he's like, "Do you guys need help on the metro with what stop to get off on?" Just people being kind is like the overarching theme of the trip of my favorite things. And then last but not least, cardamom buns. Favorite things. I mean, couldn't be better. On my next episode, I'm going to be talking all about this last week, weekend. I had this planned prior to the Copenhagen trip. I went with two friends, Susie and Michelle, to take a handmade leather bag class at the North Folk Schoolhouse in Grand Marais, Minnesota. 5 hours north, right on the border of Canada and Minnesota. Stayed in a beautiful, like, Scandinavian, like, sort of themed Airbnb. 3 nights, 3 full days of making this handmade leather bag. Like, you do it yourself. They're beautiful. So I'm talking about that in the next episode. I'm also talking about, well, I don't do fall plans, but I'm hoping I have a little bit of progress on some of these other pieces and what I'm going to do with my fabric from Denmark. And then I don't want to say empty nester because I don't like the word empty. Mr. Where We Knit and I, in the next episode, will be free birds. I'm going to call it free birds because it sounds a little bit better than empty nesters. So in the next week, on the same weekend, I'm going to Kansas to drop one kiddo off, and Montana to the other kid for the other kiddo drop off. 2 drop-offs in 4 days. It's intense. Parents, my heart aches, but it's also very exciting. It's a new sort of chapter in the lives of Mr. Where We Knit and myself and our kids. It's exciting. So, with that said, be well. I can't wait to see you and talk with you next time. Excuse me. And if you like this content, please consider subscribing and giving me a thumbs up. It makes a difference for my channel. And thanks for being here. Bye.